All right, last section of chapter 5, 5.5, dividing sign decimal numbers. So same as before, the rules for division are the same as they were for division of integers. So if the signs are different, the answer is negative. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. But when combining by hand, it is sometimes necessary to move the decimal points of each number to the right in order to divide by an integer. So that's one peculiarity with dividing. You can't divide by a decimal. Technically, you can't. A calculator can because it already incorporates the rules. But if you're doing it by hand, you really can't. So we're going to see how we can do it, though, using just a couple little moves of the decimal point. All right. Now, the first one, 49.6 divided by 8. So the first question you have to ask is, are you dividing by a decimal? In this case, we're not. It's a whole number. So we're fine to do it by hand. So if we said, okay, 8's on the outside, 49.6 on the inside. So we can do this by hand. First number is always on the inside. Second number is always on the outside. So just for reference. So 8 can't go into 4. 8 goes into 49 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. Subtract, and we get a 1. Now we can bring down the 6. 8 goes into 16 twice. Now the decimal point always moves straight up. So 2 times 8 is 16, and it zeroes out. So your answer should be 6.2. Not much to it. Now, same idea. Look at our second number. Second number is an integer, so we're good. We should be able to divide this by hand. But it's negative, so that's something else we want to be careful about when we write our final answer. So let's put the 45 on the outside, 119.7 on the inside. So let's see what we get. 45 can't go into 1, can't go into 11, does go into 119, and I'm going to say it goes in twice. So 2 times 45 is 90. And now if we subtract, we get a 9. And we got to subtract here, so we're going to have to borrow. And we get a 2. So bring down the 7. Okay, 45 goes into 297. How many times? Well, let's see. I'm going to say it's going to be 6. Now, again, the decimal point's right here, so I'm going to put that in so I don't forget it. So let's try the 6. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry a 3, 27. So subtract, we get a 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. We get 27. Well, if we wanted to keep going, what do we do? Well, remember, you can add zeros, and it doesn't change the value of that number. As long as it's on the right side of the decimal point, you can add as many zeros as you want. So I'm going to add a 0, so that way I can bring it down. 45 goes in 270, though. I already know it goes in 6 times. So that's going to allow it to zero out. Now, that's not always going to happen. We're going to see that in a minute. But in a lot of cases, you will be able to get it to zero out. So we get 2.66, but what do we know about the sign? Yeah, it's going to be negative. So negative 2.66 should be our final answer. All right, let's do one where we got problems. So this next one, you can see our second number is not an integer, it's a decimal. So we need to do some adjustments before we can divide by hand. So all we care about is this second number being an integer. So we want to move the decimal point to the right as much as we need to make that happen. So in this case, we just need to move it twice, 2 spots to make it into an integer. But just like with the multiplication, we're not going to go the opposite way. We're going to go the same way. So if we're moving it 2 places to the right here, we got to move this one to the right 2 places as well. So now let's just rewrite our problem. Negative 19950. No more decimal places on that one. divided by negative 19. So now the answer to this should be the same as the answer to this. All right, and we're going to check it at the end. So let's put our 19 on the outside, 19950 on the inside, and let's start dividing. So 19 goes into 19 once. So we'll bring down the 9. Well, 19 can't go into 9 at all, so it goes in 0 times. So 0, subtract 9, bring down the 5. 19 goes into 95. I think it goes in 5 times, right? 5 times 9 is 45, carry a 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. So we're good. And now, there's nothing left here, but we still got another spot we got to fill in. So we still got to divide. 19 goes into 0, 0 times 0, 0. So now we finished off the problem. And because both of these numbers were negative, we know the final answer should be positive. So this should be our answer. All right. Let's just see what the calculator says. Hopefully we get the same answer, right? So 199.5, and it's negative. So there's a negative button right here that you can push to make it negative. Divided by 0.19, and that's also negative. So you got to put the negative on last in your calculator, so just be careful with that. So if we divide those, there's our 1050, just what we expected. So we're good. All right, so far so good. Let's do ones where it doesn't necessarily come out nice. All right, so this says to divide and round to the nearest hundredth. So let's see what happens. So this first one, our second number is not an integer, so we're going to have to move it over one spot, which means we got to move this one over one spot. All right, so our new problem becomes 2.988 divided by 36. Now, if we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, what place is that? Where is that located? You know, if we're looking at this number on the inside, just for reference. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So if we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, we need that one extra place. So in this case, we got enough spots. So we really don't need to add any extra zeros to this one. We should be okay. Let's see what we get. So can't go into 2, so we got to put a 0. Can't go into 29, so we're going to have to put another 0. So what about 296, or 298, excuse me. How many times is 36 going to 298? Well, I want to say, see, 6, 7, maybe 8. Let's try 8. See what we get. 8 times 6 is 48. Carry the 4. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4 is 28. So that gets us pretty close. So if we subtract now, 0, 1. And 2 minus 2 is 0, but I don't need to put that in. Let's bring down the 8. 36 goes into 108. I think it only goes in 3 times, right? 3 times 6 is 18, carry a 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So it does go in evenly. Zero's out. But what's your final answer based on what the question wants? It wants you to divide, but it also wants you to round to the nearest hundredth. So this decimal here, if we round to the nearest hundredth, we get 0.08. Is that your answer? What am I forgetting? Yeah, I'm forgetting the negative in there. So it's negative 0.08. All right. Let's keep going. Now, I think you're getting the idea of what that second number has to look like. So I'm just going to start cutting to the chase here. So if I move that over 1, move that over 1, I'm actually dividing 18 into 50. So I'm going to add some zeros though, because I do want to round it to the nearest 100. So I need at least 3 places so that I can do that properly. So 18 goes into 50 twice. 18 times 2 is 36. So if we subtract, we get a 4. And we got to borrow, so this is going to be a 1. Bring down the 0. 18 goes into 140. Let's see. 8 would be too much. I'm going to say 7. So 56, carry a 5, 12. Subtract, I get a 4 and a 1. 18 goes into 140, another 7. So 126, 14, and another 7. So in this case, it's going to keep going and going and going forever and ever. There's no way to get it to stop. But we don't care because we got enough places. So what's this round to the nearest 100th? Hopefully you're saying 2.78. 2.78. All right, one more. So we're going to move it 2 places to the right, 2 places to the right. Looks like a nice problem. 11 on the outside, 7 on the inside, and throw in a couple 3 zeros. So can't go into 7. Goes into 70. I think it goes in what, 6 times? Subtract and get a 4. Bring down the 0. Looks like a 3. 33. 7. 70. Looks like another 6. So this one is another one that's going to keep repeating forever and ever as well. But we don't care because we got enough places. So what's this one round to? Whoop. You probably got it. 0.64. All right. I know doing stuff by hand seems a little ridiculous, but when it's a single operation like this, it doesn't hurt to just try it by hand. If you got a lot of order of operation stuff, then of course you want to use the calculator to kind of simplify the steps. And we're going to see that in action once we get to the order of operations. So let's try an application problem. Rob has discovered that his daughter's favorite brand of tights is on sale. Bonus, big time bonus. He decided to buy 1 pair as a surprise for her. How much did he pay? So the ad says 6 pairs for $23.98. Stock up now. So, well, how much would 1 pair be? What do we got to do? Yeah, we got to divide. So we want to see how many times 6 goes in to $23.98. So if we're dividing by hand, so 26 goes into 23 3 times, 18. Subtract, you get a 5. Bring down the 9. And don't forget the decimal point. So 6 goes into 59, I think 9 times. So we got 54. So subtract, you get a 5, 58. 6 goes into 58, another 9 times. And let's go a 0 because we're talking money, so we want to make sure we round properly. So we need 3 places. So 6 goes into 40 6 times. And I didn't give myself enough room, but minus 36 is another 4. So it's going to keep repeating after that, but we don't care. So what do you get for an answer? How much did he pay for a pair of tights? Well, to the nearest penny, $4. $4 for that once you round it up. All right, not anything too drastic. Let's take a look at a few order of operations problems, and that will wrap up this video. So I'm going to try to squeeze it all in this video. It's going to be a little longer. Still got probably another few minutes that it's going to take. So If you need to pause, pause. All right, simplify using the order of operations. So we got 7.2 minus 5.2 plus 3.5 to the second power. So what do you want to do first? Better be saying exponents. So we have this exponent we want to do for sure. Now we can look ahead. After that's done, all we have left is subtraction and addition. Which one of those should we do next? Remember, PEMDAS, it only helps you kind of remember the order a little bit, but it doesn't say left to right in there. So remember, left to right, we would technically want to do the subtraction first before we do the addition. So there's two things we can do. Now, 7.2 minus 5.2, the 2's are going to cancel. So all we really care about is this, the 7 minus 5, which is 2. And if you want to say 2.0, you could say 2.0. It doesn't matter. What about 3.5 to the second power? What's that equal to? Are you saying 7? It's not 7. Be careful. 3.5 times 3.5 is what that's equal to. So if you multiply this out, carry a 2, 17, 15 carry a 1, 10. Add this up, looks like 1, 2, 2, 5. So 12.25 should be your answer for that. So be careful with those exponents. Don't just double stuff. If it's a 2 for an exponent, you do not double it. You've got to times it by itself once. So in this case, we get 12.25. So your final answer is 14.25. All right, let's try the next one. So we got a negative number, we got a subtraction, we got some multiplying going on, and some division. So what do we do first? Well, there's no exponents. There's parentheses, but it's nothing to do inside of them. So we got multiplication and division. So left to right says we should do that multiplication first. And there's not really anything else we can do. So we're going to have to do that first. Now, here's where I'm saying the calculators are probably going to speed things up a little bit. Let's just do that step on our calculator just to save us a little bit of time. So if we multiply those, we get 47.84. So now we can rewrite the problem as this. 47.84 divided by 6.4. Now, same thing. If we wanted to go with our next step, what are we going to do next? We're going to subtract, or are you going to divide? Yeah, we got to divide. So we already have the 47.80 or 84 in our calculator, so let's just divide that by 6.4, and we get that. So don't round it. It doesn't say to round anything, so you want to keep all those decimal places. So that would be where we are now. And so the last step is to combine those with subtraction. So now what are we actually doing? Are we adding them, subtracting them? If you're not sure, remember this intermediate step would be to change it to addition first, because addition is really what we want to be able to determine if we're adding or subtracting. So we'll do a little squeeze a plus sign in there. So in this case, now we can see we really do need to add these. And now we can use a calculator, but let's just do it by hand real quick. So 8.68, 7.475, 5, 15 carry a 1, 11 carry a 1, 16. So 16.155, but is it positive or negative? Yeah. So negative 16.155 should be your final answer. All right. I know this video is long, but let's squeeze in this last problem. I know you can do it. Soup is on sale at 6 cans for $3.85 Or you could buy individual cans for 67 cents. How much will you save per can if you buy 6 cans? Round your final answer to the nearest cent. Okay, so they're giving us a price for 6 cans. So we first need to know how much 1 can would be in that case. So how do we determine how much 1 can is going to be? Hopefully you're saying divide. So yeah, we got to divide that. 385 divided by 6. Now, let's speed this along. A little division on the calculator. 3.85 divided by 6 equals, all right, so we do get a repeating decimal. So technically we get 0.64166, and it keeps going on forever and ever. But we're talking dollars and cents. So let's round this to 64 cents. So 64 cents a can in the one case on the sale price, or normally it's 67 cents. So how much will you save per can? So, well, I think we can do that math pretty quick. 0.67 minus 0.64 better be 0.03. So 3 cents per can. Now be careful with dollar signs versus cent symbols too. If you're using a dollar sign, this is 3 cents. Or you can write 3 cents with the cent symbol. But what you don't want to do is put the decimal and the cents together, because then it's just messy. So make sure you use one term or the other. And we're going to see some more of this possible error potential in later sections. So, all right, that wraps up this section. So we're done with chapter 5. So we'll see you in the next chapter in the next videos. See ya.